Hey everyone, so 3.10 is finally out, and I decided to take a quick look at one of the things that I was most excited for in this update, the Greycat ROC. So this video is just going to be a quick demo of it and my initial impressions. I wanted to do a more in-depth guide of how to make money with it, but as you'll see in this video, a lot of things are going to need to be fixed for it to actually be worth using to make money. It does have a lot of potential though, and I think it'll be a lot of fun when it gets working 100%. So like I said, there are a few glitches preventing this from being usable to make money right now, but also one thing that isn't a glitch, which is how much of a pain it is to take this thing places and get mining. So this vehicle is kind of designed to fit between hand mining and mining with a ship like a prospector, but right now it doesn't really work in that role, since you have to be able to take it somewhere to sell your cargo, and it doesn't even really fit in a freelancer that well. So that means in order to use this entry-level mining vehicle, you need at least a cutlass or something else with a large vehicle bay. So if you're someone with a starter ship, you can't really use this to get into mining, unless you rent another ship to transport it around, and at that point you're better off just renting a prospector. Hopefully though, it seems like they're going to add a feature which will fix this sometime in the future, because if you go around to the back of the ROC, you can see a box that pops out. So I think the plan is that at some point, you'll be able to just take this box of whatever you harvested, and you can just take it with you in a small ship to go sell it, similar to a delivery box. But until that's ready, you have to take the whole vehicle with you to sell what you collect, which is pretty impractical. However, one positive I noticed while doing this is that if you store your ship with the ROC inside of it, it stays there when you retrieve it. And this worked over multiple servers for me, so that's pretty cool. So once you load it up the first time, as long as your ship doesn't get blown up or lost, you shouldn't have to do it again for a little while. So another thing that I had a pretty positive experience with this was scanning for the deposits. In the past, I've found that when I'm mining on planets with a prospector, it takes way too long to find mineable rocks, and you're just flying around on the planet's surface doing nothing for a long time. But since I was flying this rock from deposit to deposit instead of driving, it was pretty easy to find things to mine. Also, it's pretty easy to tell which rocks are the big ones that are meant to be mined by the prospector and mole, and which ones are mineable by the rock, since the ones for the rock pop up as gems on your scanner, and the ones for the prospector and mole pop up as the normal rock symbol. Also, the radar box that pops up when you scan is a lot smaller for these new minables, so you can kind of use that if you're looking for them yourself. And yeah, the whole thing of unloading and loading the rover was a lot of fun with this cutlass, because it fits quite nicely. I did have some issues with the terrain though, as you can see here, so in order to avoid being beached like I would recommend driving in third person. Those rocks are kind of hard to see from the first person view. Also, I'm on Calliope here in this clip, but I think it might be best to choose a different location. One, since this is an open cabin vehicle, and the only reason I'm not getting a temperature warning is because I'm wearing the Novikov armor, and two, because the wind here is really strong, and it moves around the gems that you have to collect after breaking the rocks, and even the rock as you're trying to mine. So the mining experience is pretty similar to a prospector or mole, but there's a few little annoyances with it right now. The arm doesn't always seem to point where your crosshair does, and the UI that shows the fracture status and everything else is often out of view when you're aiming at the rocks, because it's too high and you're looking at the ground. This isn't a big deal, but I hope they adjust this as they keep refining this whole experience. But now moving on to what is really holding this back right now, the collection of these little gems does not work consistently at all. So this thing is supposed to have a tractor beam on it to collect these little pieces and basically just suck them up into the cargo hold, but currently it doesn't really pick them up. So with this Hadanite, I don't think I successfully picked up any of them, and even on rocks where it did work and pick up a few of them, it still wouldn't pick up all of the crystals. Also, I've heard that even if it shows the animation of them getting picked up and they disappear, they don't always end up in the rock's inventory, which seems to be the case from my experience, because I feel like I picked up way more pieces than what was showing up on the trading console when I went to sell them. Also, this is an issue because going back to the Hadanite, just breaking two of the rocks created a ton of these little shards, and my frame rate was way down, and I bet I was really tanking the server too. So I'm not sure if the shards are the best idea right now, just because of how stressed the servers already are, but actually being able to collect them and get them out of there would definitely help. So yeah, this is definitely the biggest issue, and I hope they can address it pretty quickly. So moving on to selling, you can sell your cargo anywhere you'd be able to sell hand minables, which is nice because I just quickly went on over to Port Tressler here and was able to sell it. So even though this payout looks pretty disappointing, I don't think there's anything wrong with the prices, because my rock showed up as 1% full, so a full rock would be worth quite a few credits, and once they fix the collection stuff, it shouldn't be too hard to fill one up either. That first patch of rocks that I found probably would have been quite a large percentage of the cargo capacity of the rock. but I didn't want to break any more of them to try it since there were already a ton of little pieces in that area and I didn't feel like crashing the server for everyone. So to wrap this up, I want to say I still think the rock has a lot of potential, but I'm not going to be using it for the next little bit, since you can't really collect anything you mine, and I don't want to be clogging up the server with hundreds of those little gems. And you don't really make much money from it right now. However, once it's working, I think it'll be a whole lot of fun, since it gives you a reason to go drive around on all the moons around Stanton, where you wouldn't have had much reason before. So I hope we get some of these fixes soon, because I can't wait to go get this little buggy stuck in lots of different places. Thanks for watching.